Do you ever have one of those weeks where like you get back something you wrote months ago to do final edits on, and you release a video that's slightly controversial, but not really at all, but you still get some nasty comments about it, even though you were kind of thinking you might get some comments about it. And then you find that someone terrible is going to be a guest of honor at Origins, and so you try to do activism, but then people give you shit about your activism and it creates all this internet drama. And then you get a message back from your vet that you should probably bring your snake in for more tests and drop a ton of money on tests for your beloved pet snake, and subsequently are behind on everything. No? Just me? It's definitely not the end of the world, but I am feeling very behind. So I'm gonna talk about Infinity War. Spoilers ahead. Now is your time to turn me off. Infinity War was okay. I'm not a huge fan of the Avengers movies, mostly because they tend to just be bro fests. Like, it's very clearly about like the 5 main bro characters, and the ladies are kind of just like, you know, ancillary to that. And that was even more evident in this movie, like with, I don't know, the second Guardians of the Galaxy and Black Panther and something else that came out before this. We kept seeing more and more like amazing lady characters, and unfortunately they're still secondary characters, and the first movie to be lady-led just in the MCU is going to be Captain Marvel, which is crazy when you wild, not crazy when you think about it, because there's so many of these movies that have been made, and there's so many amazing lady comic book characters. I mean, Black Widow is an Avenger too. Anyway, so they just tend not to be about the ladies, right? And then they're like pretty much about fighting. Like, there's almost no downtime in these movies, and when it is, it's kind of just like, here's a bunch of plot explanation and maybe a thin veneer of some personal drama, which I could kind of give or take. I mean, my favorite thing in most comic books in general is how these ridiculous characters relate to each other. And I think that's extra true with a crossover event, right? And so we just kind of see a lot of fighting. The fights are okay. I mean, the special effects were kind of cool, whatever. They totally lost me when Gamora died. Like, it was bad. I've seen some articles written by ladies that are kind of talking about abusive situations, abusive fathers, and like, obviously that's the story, but like, wow, what a bummer that she's the one who gets murdered by her father in this world of superheroes who have terrible fathers. You know, it's the lady, and not only is it the lady, it's the black lady. That's cool. So yeah, that was terrible. It also just made it like super evident to me that these are not my heroes. Like, I've really enjoyed some of the MCU. I really like the Captain America movies. I loved Black Panther. You know, who didn't love Black Panther? It was amazing. And, but you know, I grew up like going to the comic book store with my dad. And when I would walk through the shelves and he let me pick out a few comics to buy, you know, he'd go get Iron Man and Thor. Like, he was kind of into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Well, when it was comic books. And, you know, I went for the titles that had big illustrations of women on them. So I went for, you know, Catwoman, She, Sandman, X-Men, like anything that had any kind of representation of who I am, right? So automatically, like, I didn't know it back then, but looking back, like, obviously I wanted to see something that was also about me. And so those were my heroes. Marvel's never really been my thing, except for X-Men. I fucking love X-Men. The X-Men movies, as we all know, are not great. So yeah, I don't know, I was just thinking about this in relation to games, you know, and how, like, the MCU is kind of like D&D and Pathfinder, and, like, games I'm writing are kind of like, I don't know, the Max and Sandman and Kabuki. They're like smaller indie jams that have to do with things that aren't all out war and violence and bro things. So yeah, I don't know. Infinity War was fine. Go see it. Tell me what you think. I would love to hear your opinions. I thought it was mostly some sexist bullshit where women didn't really get any main plots and got murdered, and I kind of enjoyed watching the villain be a main character. Also, there were some great laughs. Those were the bonuses, I guess. So I also wanted to start my Q&A this week. I asked people on Twitter, to ask me some questions about tabletop role-playing games and LARPs, and I would answer them in my videos. So if you have any questions for me, please send them to my Twitter at KiraNanzi. You can find that down below, the link. So let's see how many I can do in a short amount of time. So Adam Blinkenstop asks, what's the best way to control pacing in a live action game when you only have a fixed amount of time in which to play? Any specific facilitator tips? Yes, I'm thinking about this because I'm actually going to be running 2 LARPs at Origins Games on Demand that's coming up next month. And a good thing to do is imagine, like, it's not just at a convention, but imagine you have like 4 hours to run that game, gather everybody together. That's actually only 3 hours that you have to run that game. It'll take time to take breaks, to get everybody together, to do organization, and to wrap things up at the end. So always imagine you have less time. Also, try to plot that time out ahead of time. Say like, okay, it's gonna take 10 minutes to explain the game, 10 minutes to go over safety, 20 minutes to go over characters and rules, and that gives us, 2.5 hours to play. And then we'll take our breaks here, here, and here, and then just kind of be upfront with people. Tell them all of that too. Don't just keep it in your head, because then they can kind of anticipate those breaks, not worry about if they have to run out of the room and grab some water or whatever they have to do. So that's some basic pacing for facilitating LARPs. Pandas Talking Games on Twitter asks, what are your current favorite safety tools and why? I still love the X and O cards. If you don't know what those are, look them up online. They are fantastic for tabletop play and online play. The OK check-in is something that I learned LARPing last year. That's popular in the LARP community. You can kind of, if you see that someone looks maybe uncomfortable, sad, whatever, and you're not sure if they're okay, you can look at them and go like this. And they can respond by doing this, this, or this. And then there's different ways to follow up with that depending on, if the person is not okay. You can pause and ask to talk to them out of character to see what's up. Because someone might be role-playing their character and just role-playing them sad, and they're like totally into being really sad, right? But like, you just don't know if they're role-playing or if they're actually sad, if something has happened, if they're, having a panic attack, if they need some kind of physical help. So that's, I think, my second favorite safety tool that I've seen recently that I really liked. And those are the 2 safety tools I think I like recently. That's my video for today. I hope you enjoyed my video. Please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you want to know every time I release a new video. YouTube will let you know. And please, share with your friends. I would love to share all my thoughts with the world all the time. And yeah, I hope your week is going a little bit smoother than mine. I'm sure things will work out in the end though. I'll see you in the next vid.